Sweet. Well, shit, man. How are you? Where, are you in Kansas City right now?
I'm
You
in
were telling
Kansas City
me?
right now. Yeah,
Okay. Are you traveling for work or for play or what's up
my
with that?
my girlfriend actually lives here in Kansas City, so I've been coming
Oh,
here
okay.
a whole
Wow,
bunch.
Cool, cool.
Yeah,
that's
How
sick.
are you liking it over there?
I love it. It's fun. Everyone's cool. It's a little bit more laid back vibe compared to California, so it's nice to get a little escape away from that.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Are
damn.
you
I
living
know
out of
last time
California
we
right now?
What's that?
Are you living out of California right now? Normally?
Yeah, I live in Huntington Beach.
Okay, cool,
Yeah.
cool.
nice. I know last on our last episode with you, I think you were in Denver still.
Yeah, I was actually just trying to think of that earlier. I was like, how long ago was that the first podcast I did? Was that during COVID?
It was kind of during, yeah, it was during COVID. Um, I'm stoked to have you back on because of some things, that have changed in your life.
Yeah.
Um, so whatever you want to talk about that you've been up to since then, I know like some sponsorship changes have happened and some other shit has happened with that. So how did that new sponsor come to be? I mean, you're pro right now, right?
Yeah.
Sick, dude. Congrats, by the way.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
that's
much.
awesome.
Yeah, I'm stoked. About a year and a half ago, I think it was the time frame. Um, yeah, I got a phone call out of nowhere from Creature, and they were like, "Yeah, man, I hate to do this, but we're like going through budget cuts within the brand." And I was like, "Damn, like that that kind of sucks." And then that kind of just led me in the decision of parting ways. Like, we're all on good terms, everything's cool. But that led me into a decision of parting ways, and kind of I took my like time with it. I was like, I'm gonna kind of just free flow here for a second and just kind of see what happens. And I had a few offers that were on the table, and then Techni was one of those offers throughout the whole time frame. Actually, like from the beginning, and I was like kind of nervous. I was like, oh, smaller brand. Like I just rode for like a legacy brand. Like I don't know. I was just kind of nervous. I was like, I don't know. So I kind of just laid low for a little bit and didn't really accept it. And then they were like, well, let's just at least send you like a box of boards to try. And I was like, okay, I'll try some boards. And they sent me some boards, and they ended up being like really, really good. And at the time, I was skating like a bunch of different other boards, just trying stuff out. And I actually ended up skating those Techni boards like religiously, and I loved them. And I was like, okay, well, these things are good. I'm like, let's move forward a little bit with conversation. And then turns out like the team manager, he was like really cool dude. Me and him just connected really well, and everything the brand was about was like everything that I kind of was like looking for in skateboarding. Just kind of like
Mm-hmm.
seemed like everything just fit perfectly and matched. And I was like, you know what, let's do it. I'm down to like go for a smaller brand and like help it grow into something big. And it ended up being a really great decision. I'm like super stoked on it. They take care of me really well, and I definitely have no complaints. And those dudes are rad,
Nice,
and the
dude.
team's rad, and it's fun. It's cool.
Filming any video parts for Techni at the moment?
Yeah, I'm actually working on one right now. I'm hoping to have I have a new board that we're working on with like one of my favorite artists. We haven't started. It's not like coming out soon, but I'm trying to shoot for like the end of June. That's my goal, and I want to try to drop a video part with that board. So yeah, currently working
Hell
on
yeah.
that.
Well, we're on like a little backlog of stuff that we're dropping, but we can fit yours in. We can fit this episode to drop in at the same time. So you can just blast that shit everywhere. Like we
Heck
can
yeah,
blast it right now that you've got a new board coming out.
yeah.
And we'll just line it up and cut it up all together so it works out for you for
I
sure.
love when that happens when you just drop a bunch of things at once. That's always fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
So
Where are
you
you
mentioned
guys
you
out
were
of?
working with, we're in Texas.
Oh,
hmm
sick. What part of Texas?
Yeah.
I'm in Lockhart, which is, I was in Austin for the longest time. And then I just moved. It's a little town like 30 minutes south of Austin.
Nice. I like Austin,
Yeah,
Texas.
and I'm in Austin still. So
Sick.
But yeah, you had mentioned working with one of your favorite artists. I know your first board with them, someone else did, but correct me if I'm wrong. The artwork on your second board, you did, right? Because I know
Yep.
you fuck around with like painting and drawings and shit. That's kind of rad. Like to get on with them and then them on your second board be like, I don't know how that conversation, like, how did that even happen?
Dude, he actually, it was crazy because he mentioned doing that for my very first board. He was like, we should just do your art board as the first board. I was like, oh no, like I don't know. I was kind of nervous. And then uh they have like their artist Tim Barron, who does a lot of their work, and he's done a lot of other people's pro models. Um they're like, yeah, he could draw up something sick for you if you wanted. I'm like, yeah, I'm super down. And then funny enough, I was talking to the team manager about my first graphic, and he was like, what would you imagine your first graphic like if you got to pick what it would be? And I'm like, I don't know, probably like a reaper ripping through a graveyard on a motorcycle or something. And the team manager was like, this is insane because that's like exactly what I was thinking. And I was like, wow, well, this works out perfect. And then yeah, I got in contact with the artist and gave him like a bunch of like color palette ideas that I had, and I gave him like some band album covers that I liked, and I was like, this is like kind of the idea I'm shooting for here. And then he just whipped up that first graphic, and I was stoked on it. And then yeah, when it came down to doing the second graphic, they were like, let's do your artboard. I'm like, okay. And then yeah, I like drew up the wolf in the coffin. I'm actually looking at it right now. I don't know how to flip the camera around, but it's it's on the wall right above that lamp. But
Hell yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I just drew up a wolf and some stuff that I just like to draw, and picked a cool font, and then they were stoked on it, and I was like, hell yeah. And then I was like,
Nice.
let's do it black and white because that's what I do all my drawings in, and it turned out sick, and people were stoked on it, so I was hyped.
I know
Right.
back in the day, like Reynolds, there's all those like videos of Reynolds describing the madness or his madness. I've seen your board setups and it looks like your stickers are always in the same place. Do you have is there a madness in that? And like when you're
So
doing a fresh setup?
sometimes like I'll put stickers on my boards, like because I feel like I don't know, I skate so many boards that I know like where my board gets messed up. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna put the stickers where there's like the least amount of scratches. That way, it can be seen and whatnot. And so I'll put them like up on the nose, like up higher, so it's like I don't really hit that area too much. Or I'll put them like in the middle of the board, right above the bottom truck, where it doesn't get too much damage. But yeah, I always just put the
Nice.
stickers where it like doesn't get scratched up. That way, if I get a cool picture or something, and you can see it all nice.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty sick like way to think about it. It's the actual absolute opposite of like the Fig Newton sticker on the windshield and Ricky Bobby, where it's like
Yeah,
in the worst place possible.
yeah. Dude, I love putting stickers on my board. That was something I remember when I was younger. I would see like all like I would flip through magazines when I was a kid, and I would see pictures of like pros, and their board had all their sponsors stickers on it. And I'm like, dude, that looks so cool. I don't know, something about it looks so cool to me. And then when I saw like pros when I was younger, and I would see like all their stickers on their boards, I'm like, damn, dude, they got all those sponsors. Like that's so cool. And so I guess when I had the opportunity myself, I was like, damn, I'm gonna put all these stickers on my board. Like I'm hyped to ride for all these people. So it's like I want to give them all love all the time.
Got a little choppy there for a second for me.
It
Did we
went
lose
choppy.
you?
Oh, there we go.
Oh.
Yeah, I got choppy.
Just for a second.
Where did I cut out
There
at?
we go.
Shit, no, I don't know. Right around like,
Well,
oh, just
no, you're
seeing
just saying,
pros.
yeah, just how much you like putting stickers on boards and like the
Yeah,
dudes you saw
I like
putting
saw
stickers
my
on
favorite
board.
pros
Yeah,
in
yeah.
magazines and stuff like with all their stickers, and I was like, this looks so cool. And then in videos too, and so when I got the opportunity, I was like, I'm gonna put all my sponsors stickers on my boards. Like I'm fucking stoked to ride for all of them, so I'd want to show them love all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
So now that you have a pro model, were you pretty like particular about like the concave and shape and stuff? Did you like get to make your dream like shape?
Dude, actually, it's kind of crazy. I the the standard boards that Techni makes that they were sending me were perfect. Like I did not have a single thing that I wanted to change. Like I said, when I was in that like phase without a board sponsor for a little bit, I had multiple other brands that I was trying, and those Techni boards were like the best shape. They were like the concave, the nose, the tail, everything about them felt perfect. Even like the strength of the wood felt good, and I was like, I wouldn't change a single thing about it. So like, yeah, when I did my pro model, I didn't even change any of those shapes. I was just like, your guys' standard shape is so good. Like, run that.
Nice.
Yeah.
So how did I saw that video on your Instagram of like the reveal party that they threw for you? Like, how
Mhm.
does it feel like the day after that? Just like knowing that you're a pro skateboarder now.
It's pretty cool. I was really hungover that next day, but
Yeah. Yeah.
no, it feels cool. I don't know. It's like a side of me kind of just felt the same because I've been skateboarding as my job for the last, I don't know, 5 years or something like that. Pretty long time now, and so it's kind of just felt. It felt like another day, but I mean, of course, it was amazing. It definitely like I think it really hit me when I like set the first board up, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Whoa, what the fuck?" That it says my name at the top of that thing. Like that's insane.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
That's
That's
I think when it all hit me, I was like, "Whoa." And then just seeing people too, like out in public with the board was like that's always a surreal feeling. I feel like it hits me in different like waves.
I think it was rad too, because like the last time we talked to you, even with the video parts, I think pandemic, like the parts you were dropping, like you had a couple, what was like 303 boards parts and like OJ wheels that you were dropping, and we had seen all those, and you were very clearly on a path to where you are now. So even with like a sponsor flip, whatever you want to call it, like it's really fucking tight that you like. It doesn't seem like your path was stunted or like you hit a plateau. Like you're still fucking going up
Oh
and
yeah, I
going
mean
for what you're fucking trying to go for, and that's pretty rad.
that's the thing too. At the end of the day, it's like I said this in a interview I did recently. It's like whether I'm a pro skateboarder or not, I'm gonna do exactly what I'm doing right now. Like I before anything, I like love skateboarding to death my whole life. So it's like even if I had no sponsors, no paycheck or nothing, it's like I would still be out like doing what I do on the streets and at skate parks and whatnot, filming video parts and like just doing it because I don't know, I love it. So it's like I'm gonna do it either way. So it's like, and I'd always want to like progress at it, whether I'm pro or not. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, that's the best way to look
you've
at it.
kinda
Yeah.
yeah.
And then it
Yeah, you've
definitely
like
like
hacked the life. Yeah.
when I got the pro title, it definitely like amped me up even more. I'm like, all right, well now I don't even want to like. It's like it's go time. It's like no chill. We're all gas, no brakes from
Yeah.
this point forward.
Yeah. That's rad.
Because I feel like
So
that happens too sometimes. It's like people will turn pro and then they're like, "Oh, I did it. I'm chilling." I'm
right,
like,
yeah,
nah.
yeah.
Yeah. Kind of lay off the pedal a little bit and
Yeah, I'm
cruise
like,
for a little bit.
I want to keep progressing and keep doing like the best I can and like, you know, make the video part better than the last one.
That's sick. Yeah, last time we talked to you, I think it was pretty fresh off of that ankle injury. Is that how's that ankle feeling?
Oh yeah, that was real. That was during that ankle. Actually, yeah, dude, I'm pretty sure I was like,
Oh
yeah, I was
yeah.
like in the recovery of that when we did that last
Yeah.
podcast. Dude, it's crazy because now, dude, my ankle feels stronger than it ever has, which is crazy.
Oh,
It
really?
feels like my ankle seriously feels better than when it did before I broke it,
Shit.
which
Wow.
somehow it doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know if it's because I did so much like work and physical therapy and kind of just kept up with like all the stretches and routines like every day to where my ankle just feels a lot more, I don't know, it feels a lot stronger. Like even when I roll my ankle nowadays, like I've rolled the ankle that I broke like pretty bad and I bounce back like 1,000 times quicker than what I used to. Like normally a rolled ankle take me out for like a month, but now it's like sometimes I'm back after just like a week, which is blows my mind. I'm like, how does that happen?
Damn.
But I don't know. Maybe the surgeon got in there and really just cleaned everything out. And he's like, we're gonna make this thing bulletproof. I
It
will
made me laugh
say it.
today. Oh yeah.
I will say it does hurt when like anything hits the side of my ankle, because I have a giant like metal plate with like 8 screws going in the side, and the skin on your ankle is very thin. So like when I hit that, that definitely like sends a shock up my leg. But other than that, it's good.
I saw a video today. I forget which one it was, but you were talking at a skate park, and some kid was like, "How much money have you spent on like skate industries or injuries?" And you're like, "Well, I spent like 12 grand on this fucking ankle."
Yeah, $12,180 straight to the ankle.
I love that you know the specific dollar amount. Like,
Oh yeah, I remember it.
Yeah.
Yeah, how could you forget it?
Yeah, very stressful situations.
Yeah, no doubt.
Speaking of
well, now
stressful situations, what do you got, Grayson?
I think I was going to ask exactly what you're about to ask. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh well, yeah. So I don't know. How do we segue into this? We're talking about. This is like, how do I set this up in a way more professional? No, but you were talking about setting up your board, putting stickers. You know, but I was thinking back on that part, like you being from Daytona, it's kind of in your blood with like the NASCAR history of that town and seeing cars in all the sponsors, like race cars, race bikes, that whole world. Like those sponsors fucking want their logo seen on your shit. So
absolutely,
it's super rad that you take that into consideration, just putting it on your board. But now with the whole, either reintroducing whoever listened to that last episode or whoever's new, now that they know that you're a certified Florida man, with everything that's been going on, we saw that you just recently competed in your first Tampa Pro.
Yeah, that was absolutely insane.
And it was a 30th anniversary of it too. So like,
yeah, yep.
That's it's double history for you, dude. It's like it's your first time there, and it's the 30th time that bitch goes down. So that's fucking rad.
That was a surreal moment because I've been going to Tampa Pros since I was a little ass kid. Like I used to go watch those.
Yeah.
And then I skated in Tampa Am from when I was a young teenager. And then to skating Tampa Pro, I was like, this is fucking insane. I was like, my favorite skateboarders are here right now. Like this is crazy.
Yeah, how I know, I mean, I know you said insane, but how did that, like, being there and in the fucking thick of it, like being there, what was that like? Like, were the fucking how hard were you partying? How fucking hard was everyone going? Like, what was the deal?
Oh, there was absolutely no partying on my end. I was like, I don't know. I was like, my sponsors paid for me to be here. I was like, I'm not about to like fuck that up in any way. Like, I don't know. I was like, I want to be on top of my shit like the whole entire week. And so every single day that I was there, I was the first person there every time.
Dude, I saw on Instagram you were there like park open and some shit.
Yeah.
Like I saw like a couple of stories where it was like you and like someone was sweeping or some shit in the background. Like you were just fucking getting some lines in. That was sick.
I was the first person there, and then I was practicing the same run over and over again for 3 days straight. I was like, all right. It was nothing crazy, but in my history of like watching all these contests, I'm like, okay, you just kind of like the first run, you just kind of want to get like something on the board, you know? You don't want to you don't want to pop your shit off right there, like off the gun, because then you'll just mess up. So I was like, I'm going to get like solid, just whatever run, like dial that in. So I practiced that whole run for 3 days straight. And then, it's nerve wracking come the day of the contest. And then I'm like, oh my God. Then I start kind of getting jello legged and messing up on a couple of the tricks. And I'm like, oh shit. All right, well. And then you're like trying to practice your lines in between hundreds of people. And then you're like, everyone's doing the runs and you get like maybe a minute in between those runs where you're like, okay, let me practice just the one trick really quick before my run comes up. And then, when my run came up, I landed the whole entire run except the easiest trick in the run. Somehow, I was like, which was a little backside tail slide across the ledge just to get to the other side of the course. The ledge was there would be some tries where it was like waxed to shit, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to slip out and die. And then there'd be other times where it would be super sticky. So I was like, I'm just going to go fast and hope for the best. And like the first time in the run, I I landed every single trick, and then I fell on that little backtail, and I slipped out because it was waxed to hell. And then the next run, I landed every single trick again, and then I fell on the backtail again, but this time it stuck. I was like, of course. but I was stoked. I did I got like I can't remember what place I got. I got like 33rd or something. I was just a few spaces away from making the semifinals, which was, I mean, I was stoked on that alone. So I was like, my first one wasn't too bad.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Your name's on that list, no matter what.
Yeah.
Like fucking people look up 30th anniversary Tampa Pro list. You're fucking on there.
Yeah, I was stoked, man, and just like, I don't know, seeing people there stoked on me too, like, was a really cool thing. Like lots of like true Florida fans were there. Like one guy gave me a Daytona Bike Week like vintage hat and a
Nice.
Daytona Bike Week vintage shirt, and then like people came up to me with my board there. I was like, this is fucking insane. That I don't know. That was just a really cool feeling and kind of just felt like a full circle moment. I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Did practicing that same run for 3 days, like were you sick of that run, or were you just more focused on getting it down for the day of, like that you weren't even thinking that? I don't know.
I'm not gonna lie. I definitely was sick of doing the same fucking tricks over and over again. I was like, I remember there was so many times where I was like, fuck, I want to just like skate this one obstacle and like just do a bunch of tricks on it, like you normally would at a skate park. You know, you're like, all right, I want to have a session on this rail, but then in my head I was like, nah, I gotta like only do this trick. That way, when it comes down to doing it in the run time, I'm like, all right, I've done it 200 times. Like I know exactly what this trick feels like, and that's kind of what it felt like. Like I did like I don't know, just like tricks that I don't really do. That like I did like a frontside nose slide down a handrail in my run, and then like kickflip board slide on a rail, which like you never know. Like some days those flip ins don't work, so I was like, okay, I'm seriously just gonna dial in all these tricks for 3 days straight. That way, it just feels like nothing, and that's kind of like what it did when it came down to doing that run. It was like, all right, I've done this trick 100 times. Like it's going. There's no way I'm gonna miss it, and then I fuck up on the easiest trick.
When you skate contests like that, are you putting on like brand new shoes day of and like setting up a new board day of, or do you like to have it worn in for some time?
I like to try to wear everything in for like probably 2 days before the contest, because I don't really like brand new things like that much, but like 2 days old is perfect.
Yeah.
The shoes get a good little flick mark on them. The board's like perfectly broken in.
Yeah. So I know you grew up skating contests, and then Tampa Pro is like one of the big contests. But is skating contests like, does that interest you? Is that something you want to do more of?
Yeah.
I've actually been thinking about it lately. I don't know. I grew up skating contests a lot when I was younger. Like that was like a majority of what I did in skateboarding when I was like a little teenager. Even before I was a teenager, when I was like 12, I skated a bunch of contests, and like I enjoyed it back then. And then by the time I was like 17 or 16, 17, I was like, I mean, I always street skated too when I was like younger and stuff, but I think I gained like a real appreciation for it when I was like 16. I'm like, all right, I want to film like street parts, and I want to like do that side of skating. So I kind of just like took a break from contests, and then I would skate like Tampa Am every year, but I wouldn't really like practice for it because I was like, oh, I'm not a contest skater. Like all I care about is like getting clips and doing that stuff. So I would just go to Tampa Am, do it, and then be done. And then now I don't know. I like a side of me kind of wants to like dabble in the contest world. I'm like, this is pretty fun. I go to the skate parks, and when I'm like skating a skate park, I'll do sometimes the same tricks over and over again, and then I'll fuck around at the skate park and do like a run at the skate park, and I'm like, well, this is kind of like what a contest run would be like. So I should maybe try to like dabble in some contests every now and then and see if like I can do well at them and just kind of fire off on all realms if I can. Try to.
You brought it up just now. The difference between like if you're going out for a day to try and get some clips for a video part versus maybe not day of the contest, but like practicing a line for a contest.
Yeah.
what all like are you just focused on sessioning like one spot per day for like a video part, whereas like if you're trying to get like a line down, you're probably thinking about multiple tricks in that same day? Like how different is like your mental on those 2 days?
So street skating and filming is like, it's a lot funner in my eyes. I'm like, okay, I can like, because it's like normally I'll like meet up with a filmer and my homies, and it's like we're just having a fun day, and it's like naturally we'll just like end up at a good spot or something, and it may come easy, or I might battle and suffer for hours while I'm trying it, and then so it's like I don't know. That's always different. That's always fun, and then skate parks when it's like you think of like okay, if I'm practicing for a contest run, it's like yeah, you're trying like okay, I need to do a flip in on a rail, I need to grind this ledge, flip over this pyramid, grind that quarter pipe. It's like you're trying to connect all the dots and like land it flawlessly and match everything together, which can be like a nightmare in itself sometimes. So that's like why it's always cool to like go to contests like a few days early and like feel out the course when before no one's there. That way you've had like a few days of like, okay, I know exactly what all these obstacles feel like when you're in a zone of just like, okay, I'm just fucking around at the skate park. And then by the time contest day comes around, you're like, okay, I'm good. I don't have to like struggle to figure out each obstacle. You know, I've already like done it a few days prior.
So as far as speaking of contests, I think like since the last time we talked to you, when we talked to you last, skateboarding wasn't in the Olympics, and now it has been in the Olympics. As like kind of like a part-time contest skater now, how do you feel about skateboarding in the Olympics?
It's cool. It's I don't know. I like there's a side of me that's like I don't know the core skateboarding side that's like oh no I don't think skateboarding should be in the Olympics. It's not a sport. But then there's a side of me that's like oh it's cool. Like it's I don't know. It is what it is. It's fun. It's like doesn't give skateboarding such a bad look, I guess, in that sense. Like, I guess that's why I like it. It's like, because a lot of people, like, in the world, like, look at skateboarders like they're fucking outlaws and stuff, which, I mean, back in the day, it was kind of like that. But
Yeah.
nowadays, it's like, it is a sport. It is, like, a thing that you could make a career out of, like any other sport in the world. And, like, maybe that'll give police officers a different look at it to where if we're out doing stuff in the streets and they'll be like more accepting of it instead of like coming at us all crazy in some senses. So I guess I like it in that aspect where maybe it'll be
I never even thought of that, dude. If you're getting kicked up by security, you could just be like, "We're practicing for the Olympics,
yeah,
dude." Like, what the
dude,
fuck?
I'm trying to qualify for the Olympics.
Yeah, do you not believe in your country?
You don't understand, man. I'm trying to qualify.
Yeah, I'm trying to bring home the gold. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, you're ruining.
You mentioned the one trick you had trouble with at Tampa was the easiest one. So is it safe to say that you got Tampa legs then?
Dude, I don't even know. It's like I need somebody who needs to take. I think wax should be illegal in contests because that's like what happens. It's like sometimes I just like you'll skate the rail 1 minute and then 20 minutes later you'll do it again and it's like the slipperiest thing you've ever skated in your life. I'm like, what just happened within the 20 minutes of like that? I don't know.
That's it. I mean, that's funny you bring that like because now that it's being seen more as an Olympic sport, a contestable sport, like other sports have rules on equipment and shit. So it's like maybe some fucking wax rules. I don't know all the rules of like competitive or like Olympic skateboarding, but yeah, maybe we gotta fucking think about the playing field a little bit. Like if we're gonna gamify it and contestify it this much, then let's fucking go all in and be like, nah, you can't use wax. Your board has to be this shape. Like there's some regulations and shit.
Maybe just like I don't know who's ever building the skate park. Maybe they just wax everything up prior and be like, all right, this is the one time you get. This is all it is. Make it work.
Yeah. I mean, it would only make the course less slippery by the end. So the people like finalists, like you're like, all right, man, like you're the fucking top of the top. Like you don't get a re-wax, you don't get a reset.
Some people would get so pissed off at that rule. Oh my god. I mean, there's those skaters who literally carry wax in their pocket. They're like, "Yep, cake that on there."
That's sick. I was watching your Techni welcome video. What is that bike you're riding? Because I know I saw on your Instagram that at one point you had a bike stolen, but it looks like you're back on wheels again.
Yeah, I had the green Sportster chopper that I had. I think I had that last time I was with you guys on the
Okay.
interview.
That's the one you did the tray flip over in.
Yes,
What
in the
video was
OJ
that?
part.
Yeah.
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 That bike, that bike got stolen right out of my apartment complex in Denver,
Shit.
and got spotted like 100 times, but never got returned, which sucked. But yeah, dude, it sucked. I went pretty stagnant without a bike there for like a year, maybe even longer than that, probably like a year and a half, 2 years. But one of my best friends in Florida and I like put together this bike, and I ended up riding that bike a lot when I would visit Florida.
Yeah.
And then one of the times that I visited Florida, he goes, "You want to just buy this off me?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm actually so down." And then I
Nice.
bought it, and then I did a road trip from Denver all the way to Florida in my van, loaded it up, drove back to Denver, and then literally like a week later moved to California and put it back in the van and went to California.
Nice. I mean, I bet it's nice to have something in Cali too, because it's such a nice state to ride in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. I was like, it's funny because in between this time of the last podcast and now, I lived in California 2 different times, and I went like a year in California without a bike, which sucked. I was like, dude, all I want to do right now is ride my bike by the beach or ride my bike to the beach. I was like, gas is expensive as shit out here. I don't want to drive my damn car.
Yeah, that's just like what, 6 something a gallon out there.
Dude, yeah, it can be. It's like a consistent five plus all the time. I'm like, god damn. But yeah, I'm stoked to have a bike again.
But it's like 76 degrees and you got legal weed out there, so you got to fucking take the trade off.
Yeah. Yes, I'll drive my minivan to the beach.
Gas is cheap as fuck in Texas, but it's 100 and something degrees 3 months out of the year, and we gotta.
Yeah, you're sweating walking to pump your gas.
Yeah, we gotta buy weed like we're in the dark ages and still fucking find a guy.
You gotta meet the guy at the corner.
Yeah.
It's under the rock by the stop sign.
I just want the convenience.
Yeah.
That's tight. Oh, I saw. So 303 and America did a collab. Was that? Did you have anything to do with that?
I mean, I didn't have anything to do with it when it was the idea, but when they were making the shoe, they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna do a video to promote it, like, and we want you to be in it." I'm like, "Hell yeah!" And then, funny enough, they made that shoe like. They gave me a sample of that shoe like probably a year and a half before that video came out, and I think I was working on something else in that. I think I was working on my burn it all down part. I can't remember, but they hit me up like whatever a year later after that sample. They're like, "Oh, by the way, we're editing that 303 America video. Like, you got clips for it?" And I was like, "Oh shit!" I'm like, I just dropped the whole video part, and I was like working. I'm like, "Damn, hold on," and I like just pumped out what I could, and it was funny because it was like I had like a week window to work with, and I was like, they were like, "It's gonna be a short video anyway. No worries if it's not like anything insane." So yeah, I was able to get like a few clips for that.
That's tight. From a lot of your footage, it looks like you're wearing the Winos, right? You favor that shoe?
That is the best shoe ever made.
Okay.
I love that shoe.
I also rock Winos, and for the same reason, like just aesthetically and for function, best shoe.
Yes.
I totally agree.
It seriously is like you could wear it. I wear that shoe out on like nice occasions too. Like I'll wear that to a wedding, and then I'll go skate in that same exact shoe. I love it, and it's funny because I literally get the same pair every single time. I'm like, yep, black slip-ons, white sole every time.
Yep. That's what I get too. I wore Vans slip-ons the same style for a long time, and then I got a pair of those, and I was like, oh, it's like the good version of that. Which no
Mm-hmm.
shade on Vans, but I mean the Wino like figured some shit out.
Yeah,
That
the
the
Wino like
slip-ons for
slips onto
Vans.
your foot nicely. It
Yeah,
like feels
it's
like
that.
an actual shoe.
Yeah, that raised heel like makes a huge
Yeah,
difference.
that's the main thing I tell people, because I've had people tell me exactly what you just said. They're like, "Are the Vans slip on and the America slip on the same?" I'm like, "Absolutely not." I'm like, the America one like actually cups your foot. Like the
Yeah.
Vans one, I feel like just it's like your foot sits on top of it almost.
Yeah.
And I mean, fuck, some of the best skateboarders in the world ride for America, and they all skate that shoe. They like
Yep.
all skate the slip-ons. So, I mean, that alone says something about it.
Yeah.
Dude, maybe the regulations shield the Olympics in the future if we get some rules in place.
Oh man, I was
Karyuma's
about to
gonna hate
say,
that.
I was
Yeah.
about to say, I'm like, I don't know if anybody from America is going to be skating the Olympics, but
Yeah.
Braden Hoban is like definitely on a
Yeah.
contest spree. I bet he'll be in the Olympics.
Nice.
So, in preparation for today, I watched all of your video parts, and a couple tricks
Sick.
stood out to me that I wanted to ask you about.
All right.
So, in Burn It All Down, something it seems like a no brainer to do, but I can't say that I've seen it outside of you doing it. Is back feeble frontside flip out, and what especially stood out is like when you do the frontside flip, your foot is like flat on the tail. And it must feel really awkward to flip a frontside flip with like a flat foot like that, right?
Dude, I don't know how feeble, like tricks out of a feeble grind makes so much sense to me. I don't know if it's because when I was younger, I used to do feeble grinds a lot on flat bars, and then when when it came down to me learning how to like flip out of feebles and stuff, I did like 100 feebles and just ollied out of them before I ever tried to like flip my board. And so I found that like sweet spot on the tail, and now like tricks out of feebles makes so much sense to me. That specific feeble frontside flip was difficult because I had to do it in like that was a flat bar spot where there's these giant like uh I don't know, like poles sticking up, so you only get like a 8-foot piece of the rail to do it on. So I had to do it like quicker than what I normally would. So that's what made that challenging. And kick flipping over the barrier on like flat ground right before that a bunch of times too was like tiring me out. But yeah, I don't know. I don't ever really notice like how my back foot kind of ends up in the feeble. I just like aim, like when I feeble, I try to stand up straight on the rail and then pop literally the dead center of my tail off the rail. And like if it connects, it's usually pretty good. I'm like, all right, it's flipping, we're going.
Yeah. Because sometimes I'll see you do back feeble kickflip out, and your kickflip out is like really high, which is like that makes for me that doesn't can't compute that of like how you get a lot of pop out of a feeble, but you seem to manage it.
Yeah, you got to connect that tail, and then it almost feels like you're popping a kickflip off a flat ground when your tail connects on that rail just right. So there is some that like feel. There's definitely some that I do that feel way different than others. Like there's some where I kind of just flop the kickflip out, but then there's some where I'm like, damn, that one snapped. Like that one felt good. Like it'll catch up to my back foot and everything. I'm like, oof. Those are the ones that feel nice.
Another trick that stood out in Burn It All Down was just straight up body varial over a bump to bar, which is like another thing that I can't compute. When you see some people do just straight body varials, they're almost kind of cheating and doing like the Stevie Williams like shove it revert thing, but just making it mellow.
Yeah.
But your board, if you watch that clip, it stays true that whole time. Like there's no deviation. When you do body varials like that, do you kind of throw the board down to like get that body varial, or how does that? I can't do those, so I don't know how that.
So this is funny. So body like I will only do, because it's funny because body varial is kind of a trick that gets clowned on in skateboarding for some reasons,
Sure.
but until you do it on something where someone can't deny it, they're like, oh shit, like that was gnarly. So I always try to only do body varials when it's on a ridiculously tall bump over bar that I like cannot do anything else over besides an ollie, because when I do like ollie body varial or even like ollie late shove, the thing is like I'm like, okay, if I can ollie over it, I can do one of those tricks, because with the body varial, the way I do it is I ollie. I get all the way over what I'm getting over, and then at the last second, I like shift my feet and like do the sex change. So that's why my board like stays true, like what you were saying, is because I don't even think about doing the sex change until I'm at the like peak of my ollie. I'm like, okay, I made it over the obstacle. Now it's time to like shift my feet. And that one that I did and burn it all down was actually the hardest one I've ever done in my entire life. That one took like 3 different trips back to the spot. That bump to bar is like hard enough to just ollie over, and there's like no bump. It was freezing fucking cold that day that I did it, and there's actually snow on the ground in that clip. But yeah, that one was really, really hard. That was like after 3 different trips back, and then I think that day I tried it for like 2.5 hours, and then finally, and it was crazy because I remember that specific one. I told myself on that try, I was like, all right, this is my last try, like for this day. I'm like, this is the last one. I don't have any more in me. And then I ended up landing that one, and I was like, thank God this is over, because I don't ever want to come back to this thing again.
Yeah.
I was like, this is the best trick I'll ever do on this. This is my last time here.
But it seems like you have a special place in your heart for bump to bars. I saw a thing that was like in one of your skate parks growing up. Like there was like basically a big Euro gap situation. Like, did you really develop the bump to bar thing street skating, or is it solely from just like that park having that spot?
So in Florida, like where I grew up, there's not a lot of like good street spots. So I don't know, we kind of we were like, okay, well, we have no street spots, so I guess we'll just jump over things. We have bump to bars that have no bumps. They're just fucking handicap rails, basically off of flat ground. And a couple of my influences growing up, like Blake Carpenter grew up in my hometown, and he's a little bit older than me. And he used to do the same shit. He would literally ollie over fucking anything. And I'm like, I want to be able to do that. Like that, to me, is the coolest shit ever. If you can like fly down the sidewalk and just ollie over what's in front of you, no matter how tall it is, I'm like, that is my favorite type of skating. And like a few of my friends were super good at it too growing up, and I was like, okay, this is my influence. Like, this is what I want to do. And then when I would go to the skate parks, we would kind of like set up things out of the ramp and just like launch over them. And that, like, I just channeled that to the streets. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to try to do this in the streets. And then, yeah, just slowly started evolving over the years. It was like ollie over them, and then kickflip over them, and then whatever else I could try over them.
Hell yeah. Okay, I'll only ask you a couple more. I don't even know if this is good content at this point. I'm just genuinely curious.
It's all content, baby.
It's all content. We're using every bit of it.
Fuck yeah.
No edits.
Yeah, no
so
cuts.
Your ender for Hellbent is that kickflip or that flat gap. But I was upon closer inspection, it seems like you land on those bumpies. I don't know what you call them, like at a subway station. Those
the blind pads or whatever.
Yeah. I anytime I've rolled over those, they act like a death pebble and just send me to the ground. But you like landed on it and powered through it, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's so, man. That
yeah, because it
was scary. So years back, I had ollied that flat gap, and it like first the like leading up to it is insane too. Like this is something that not a lot of people even see. So there's a train track behind it too. So and there's gates like right at the end of it, and I literally had to like move a chain and swerve through a gate and then go over the flat gap. So the flat gap's fucking huge already, and then to go full speed and just curve into like a 2-foot wide gate that I could easily like hit my hip on or something was like scary enough. And then So I was like, ollie was like such an accomplishment for me, and I landed on the bubble pads too then, and I was like, that was scary. And there's a little fucking, I don't even know what it is. It's like a metal box of some sort right in the way when you land. So like, if you were to say get pitched like you said, you would fly right into that thing. Thankfully that never happened, but I so whatever, I ollied it that day, and then in my head I was like, damn, I wonder if like anybody could ever flip over this, and I was like, nah, probably not, and I just went home. I was like, there's no way. And then like fast forward like a few years, we went back, and I was like, yeah, I think I want to try to kickflip it, and I ollied it first try and landed on those bubble pads, and those things, like, no matter how fast I could go, I could never make it past the bubble pads too. Like the flat gap alone was fucking big, so it was hard. And then I just couldn't clear those bubble pads. So I'm like, all right, I gotta land on these things if I want to flip over it. And then I flipped my board over it so many times before I even like committed to one, and I would just tumble. I'd like flip my board over, not even stick it, and just tumble. And I'm like, fuck, dude. I'm like, literally the only way to find out how this is gonna work is if I just commit to one. And I went back to the runway that try. I'm like, all right, I'm literally just gonna go as fast as I possibly fucking can and just flip my board and just pray to my holy stars that I fucking make it over this thing and make it through those bubble pads. And sure enough, the first one that I committed to, it landed and rolled away. And like, I don't know, if I can't remember if it plays it or not in that video, but dude, I literally rolled away and like closed my eyes, and I was like, thank you fucking whoever for not letting me clip and die on this thing. And then I literally just skated away. I skated like so far away from everybody for a minute. I was like, whew, I like had an anxiety attack. I'm like, all right, everything's done. We're good. You made it. And then, yeah.
Yeah, because in pictures and video, like you can see them, but until you're like looking at them shits, they're massive.
Yeah, it sucks, dude. Some spots you can never do it justice. It's like just one of those things that you have to kind of just be there for to see like all the little details. Like, oh, you got to curve in, you got to land on bubble pads, you got to dodge the thing in the landing, you got to worry about it's at a train station. You got to worry about like a security guard being on your ass in like 2 seconds there. Like, I don't even know how I got as lucky as I did there that day, but yeah. So
even just shitty like pavement. Like when you watch a video part and you see someone flip into a bank and you see how shitty the pavement is. So many people don't see that shit, and you're like, that to me, that's I'm like, this motherfucker just risked it all to get that clip because that shit.
Or sometimes you're like, oh my god, that spot looks perfect, and then you go there and it's like dog shit. You're like, what? Like, all right, gained a whole new appreciation for the clip.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, it reminds me, when I was younger, I was super determined to be a pro skateboarder, and I was also confident, maybe a little too confident, that was like something I was going to attain easily. But I was with my parents in LA one time, and I begged them to take me to the Hollywood 16. And they sure enough,
thing's no joke.
And I walked to the top of it, and I was like, you know what? I don't know if I'm going to ever be a pro skateboarder. It's a literal fucking cliff.
Like, damn.
Yeah, no, and I jumped down it with just my feet. It was like at night, and it rocked my fucking world to jump down it. And I was like, yo,
dude, that's like worse than trying it on your skateboard.
Yeah, no kidding. My parents were like, why are we here right now?
Yeah. I'm just gonna
like, Mom, you don't understand.
I just need to jump down these stairs. Like,
dude, I did that.
That definitely gave me perspective.
California too. I went my first time in California. I was like fucking 10 years old or something with my sister, and I knew what Hollywood High is, and I'm like, you have to drive me to Hollywood High. She's like, why? I'm like, I have to see this set of stairs. You don't understand. Like, I'm like, I need to see it. I need to know what it's like.
I did that same shit when my girlfriend first took me to California. She was like, we got to LA, and she's like, what do you want to go see? I'm like, do you know this car wash? And she's like, why do you want to go see this car wash? I'm like,
I want to go to the car wash, Hollywood High, El Toro.
Yeah, it was like none of the touristy shit.
Yeah.
I was like, can we go to Venice? She was like, oh, you want to go to like some kitschy shops? I'm like, I just want to see it. Grew up seeing it in videos.
Never coming to California with this guy again.
Yeah.
So
I
you
wanted
just
to
want
go.
to concrete the whole time.
Um,
Oh, it's the
so,
best. I do
well,
that shit now
since
sometimes. Me and my girlfriend will be driving somewhere. I'm like, babe, you got to pull over. There's like a perfect rail over there. It'll only take like 10 minutes. I need to look at these dimensions. They're looking good.
uh, since you have seen Hollywood 16, especially
Oh,
now
yeah.
being a legit pro skateboarder, you feel like you would have anything for it?
I did Hollywood High when I was younger, but
Hmm.
I don't have, I only like board slid it and lip slid the 16 stair, but
Yeah.
I do not have any tricks that are worth filming. Like, I don't know. There's nothing I could do on it that would like shock the skate world now, because that's that type of spot. You don't just go there and film something that's already been done. Like, if you're gonna film a trick on Hollywood High, you need to do an MBD and like make your stamp. Like, that's one of those spots where like if nobody knew about you and you did an MBD on that thing, like you could damn near make a name for yourself on it. But
Yeah.
I don't know if I were to. I mean, the only thing I could think about that if I were to do an MBD would be something like over the fence on the side. Like,
Yeah.
that's something that doesn't seem impossible in my brain, but also like don't really feel like hucking my feet down a 16 stair height worth up and over a fence. And
Yeah.
then like I don't even know. And then there's even like a lot of tricks have been done over that. Like all the go-tos have been done. It's been kick flipped, frontside flipped. I'm like, God damn. Like, so that would be the only thing. But
Has someone done a hard flip over it?
yeah, Enzo Catella hard flipped over the fence, which is
That's right.
unbelievable. The
That's right.
only thing, I don't even want to say this because I bet I'll say it and then everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, got to do it now." But a tray flip over the fence would be the only thing in my brain that would like ever make sense. But
Yeah, got to do it now.
I was gonna say, you do have a high tray flip, so I could see that happening.
Yeah, now everyone's gonna come for my throat. Everyone's gonna be like, "Yep, he said he's gonna tray flip it."
Okay, let me ask you about one more trick from a video part. But point of clarification: a ghetto bird is a hard flip backside 180, right? That's a ghetto bird.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. So you do a ghetto bird over a bump to bar in Hellbent.
Yep.
You obviously have a mean hard flip. We talked about it at length last time. That water gap.
Yeah.
And just in general, there's one that I don't even remember which video part it was where you do a hard flip and it's like the textbook version of a hard flip where you grab it kind of like angled and sideways and then lay it down, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've seen you do a ghetto bird outside of that one in that bump to bar. But it just got me thinking of like when you're thinking about video parts, do you kind of lay out tricks that you're like, I definitely want to get a ghetto bird in there, or I definitely want to get a this or that in there, and then you're aligning spots with that trick, or like, how much do you think about that kind of thing?
I definitely like when I'm on a fresh slate of like, okay, I just put out a video part and I'm like starting fresh with everything. It's like I'll usually get the like go-tos out of the way. I'm like, okay, go like frontside flip a gap, or go try to like kick flip a bump to bar, or do just whatever the main like go-tos that I usually do. And then once I get like a good solid foundation of those, I'll start tapping into like shit that I don't really do or shit that's hard. And I'm like, okay, let's step out of the comfort zone a little bit and try something you don't really do. Or like, I don't know. Funny thing about that ghetto bird that you're talking about, the OJ brand manager, when I was in the middle of working on that part and I was almost done with it, he knew that I could do hard flip back 180s, and I didn't have a single one in the edit that I sent him, and he actually requested that. He goes, "Can we get a hard flip back 180 up in here?" And I'm like, "Shit, all right, yep, I got you." And I don't know why that bump to bar, because dude, that one's hard to skate. It's like, it's another one of those things where it's like footage doesn't really do it justice. Like that spot, dude, you have to push so fast to get to it. Like some people get towed in by a car to skate over it because it's like a bump and then it's a really long flat and then it's like, and then the bar. the bar's not extremely tall, but it's the flat in between that's like a distance. So you gotta like do whatever trick you're doing. You gotta be comfortable doing it going fast as hell. So that one was another one where I kicked so many over it, and I was like, oh, I don't know. And then the first one I committed to, it went like perfect, and I was like, God damn, like, all right, cool.
There's another and something I think it was that mob thing that they uploaded, kind of like following you around day in the lifestyle kind of thing.
Yeah.
Is that where you did that? Like, I don't even remember. Did you do an indie grab from that quarter pipe at your local spot up onto that flat thing? They were
Yes.
showing that from like your perspective, like going at it. But there's just like a little scene in the background when you're rolling away where you can see it in the background. You're like, holy fuck, that's really long. Like,
Dude, that clip got a lot more love than I thought it was going to. Yeah. But that was one of those gaps at the skate park that was like an imaginary fantasy where I was like, I don't even know if it's possible. Like, I truly didn't know. I was like, I don't know if I could do it or not. And I like fucked around and just launched my body off of it and didn't even get close. I was like, yeah, there's no fucking way. And then I thought about it for like 3 days, and I was like, you know what? I'm like, I bet if I went as fast as I possibly fucking could at that thing, I could I could launch up there. And dude, if I had to guess, I'm not even kidding. It's probably like, I don't know. I feel like it's over 20 feet. If I had to guess, like,
it looks huge.
Like, and I mean, that's anyone who's been to that skate park knows. It's like you look at it and you're like, this doesn't look right. Like you have to like dodge a tree and a hubba and like just fucking fly through this little zone, like 20 feet, and just hope you make it up there. But yeah, I don't know. I somehow was able to muster that one up too. I definitely almost like hit the tree and the hubba, but we made it work.
Yeah, it looks like you were threading a needle for sure in that one.
Yeah. The one that I posted on my Instagram, I feel like is like the closest angle of it doing justice is like the iPhone angle. Just like that was the best angle of it to me, in my opinion.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Well, shit, man. Grayson, what do you got? You got anything else?
I could ask you about tricks from your video parts all day long if you want, but
notice I said anything else.
No, I will ask one more. Tray flip front revert. That one was a little. It made me audibly exclaim because I was expecting the tray flip up the stairs, and then the little revert, and I was like, "Oh, a little sauce on it."
Yeah, the old tray flip rewind.
Yep. Do you do those a lot? Because I follow you on Instagram, and like I get a sense of like your style and trick selection and stuff. But every once in a while on your video parts, I'm like, I haven't seen that yet. Like, where did that come from?
See, I'm glad that pops in your head, because that's my goal sometimes with video parts. It's like, okay, obviously I want people to like see the skating that they want to see, you know, like the stuff that I'm like known for doing, and then I want to sprinkle in those tricks where it's like, what the fuck? Like, when did he learn that, or when did he do that? And half the time, like, those tricks, it's like I don't practice those. Like tray flip rewind, I don't do those ever. I never do those at the skate park. I don't do them like daily. Sometimes I'll just end up at a street spot and I'm like, all right, now's the time to, you know, tap in and like suffer for a long time and see if I can like muster up something that I've never done before, like muster up something that's like different and out of my realm, to where it's just like, I don't know. It's like very satisfying when you can do that. You're like, all right, I just landed something that I've never done before in the streets, and it's like about to be seen in a video part. Like, that's a good feeling.
Oh yeah.
Just through following your Instagram, it seems, and you tell me how you feel about this. Do you feel like you're getting a little more tech here and there?
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, that's like what I'm like trying to, because my whole life I've like tried to skate everything. I've tried to skate vert. I've tried to skate street and ledges and rails. So it's like, and I still can, but I just kind of showcase what I'm good at, like, which is like popping high and popping over things and like whatever, launching things, and like, but I still know how to do all the other things. So I'm like, okay, nowadays I just try to like, I guess, stay more on top of like practicing everything. So I'm like, okay, practice the rail tricks, practice like the tech tricks that you know how to do, and then maybe like amp them up a little bit. Try to like flip out of the flip trick that you know how to do or whatever, you know. So yeah, trying to get a little more tech than usual, I guess.
It's funny you say that because there's a few instances in your video parts of like tray flip nose manual, but I don't remember which one. I think that whatever the most recent one was, which I think is Burn It All Down. Is that your most recent video
Yeah.
part?
Yep.
Maybe it's that one. You do tray flip nose manual and then do like a little ride on crook off of
Yeah.
the thing. Yeah,
Yep.
I was like, oh, see, it's a fun little variant
Yeah.
of like,
Dude, that one was goddamn hard too, because the ledge that I had to tray flip up, dude. The ledge that I had to tray flip up was like up to my knee, and it is not easy to like tray flip up things. And oh my god, dude, that day tray flipping up onto that ledge into a nose manual was like kicking my ass. And then the like, I think I only nose manualed across that thing after like a tray flip into the nose manual. I think I only made it into probably fucking 3 of them, and then I remember one went all the way to the ride on grind. I'm like, dude, you better fucking land this crooked grind after, or I'm gonna freak out. And luckily it did, because I am not good at manuals. Like, manuals are the hardest thing ever, but I try to do them.
There was another tray flip nose manual. It was like across flat and then into a bank. But I don't even know if this was intentional, but you almost kind of like go into nose bonk, nose blunt territory before you pop into the bank.
I think you're talking about the one like, in the America video.
Oh, it might be, yeah, because like it was quick enough to where you could pass it off as like popping into the bank, but it was also stalled enough to where it's like, was that a bonk? You know?
So that spot, the bank is like super steep, and there's a little lift up, like a little bit of concrete right before that you go into the super steep bank. And I think on that tray flip nose manual, I was trying to like bonk off of that little piece of concrete to where it would like kind of bump me up into the bank a little bit, and that's just whatever my board did that day, that's what it happened with, because I was like, all right, I landed it, like I'm taking that one.
Yeah, it looked cool. It added it would be one thing if you kind of did the the push forward and just like rolled into the bank, but it adds a little flavor to like kind of tweak it out on the bonk a little bit, which is very sick.
Thank you.
But yeah, dude. But I will cease just picking your brain about tricks that you've done 1,000 times. So
we'll save that for the third podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
dude.
Put out a couple
down.
more video parts and do some weird shit in it, and we'll
next one we'll all just link up and do it in person.
Hell yeah, I'll come to Texas.
Dude, I still have. Speaking of that, I still have an idea. There's like some of the sickest roads to ride on are like 2.5 hours away from us. And there's like fucking cabins and all kinds of camping and shit on them. I think we could fucking put some crazy shit together where it's like, if you do come out, we'll get you a bike and we'll just hit up all of our homies that know what spots are in between there. And we can do a fucking ride to skate to camp type shit.
Whenever. That sounds so sick what you just named. Get me to Texas on a motorcycle and I'm so down.
It won't be any time in the summer. So we got some time. We got some time to marinate on that.
Winter time, baby.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. Yep.
Well, dude, I mean, thank you again for fucking stopping by again and fucking catching up with us. It's been rad. It's been rad seeing where you're going, and I hope it's fucking just up and up and up for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you guys
being from Florida, it's always nice to fucking see a Florida homie fucking on the come up and put a good name out there for the Florida man.
Hell yeah. I'm trying. I'm putting on for the state.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
And then, like, I mean, by the time this comes out, you should have a new board coming out. So anyone listening, fucking go get it. Go help the homie out for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Appreciate y'all.
For sure, dude. See ya.
Later.
All right, thanks, Devin.
Thank you guys. Have a good rest of your night.
You too,
You too,
man.
dude. Enjoy KC.